Oh, did you want to do it?
Yeah, you can go.
Okay, you sure?
Yeah.
Okay.
You drive the
Ready?
car.
1, 2, 3. Welcome to No
Context
Context
Needed.
Needed. Today we have a very special guest. Christy! This is my best friend in my whole wide world. You too, Justine.
There's no favorites.
I'm just kidding. All right, girlie. We're handing you the mic. Thanks so much for joining us on a podcast today.
No, thank you for having me on your podcast. I feel very honored as a third or fourth guest. We'll see.
So as you can see, it's a threesome today. And if you recall from our previous episodes, we've talked about Christy quite a bit. So today you're going to get to know a little bit more about her. But before we kick off this episode, we're going to try something a little bit different. So as you know, this show is called No Context Needed. And all of us love being online. And me particularly, I live in the comment section. So I went ahead, took some screenshots of some comments, and I'm going to read them to you guys. No context about what it's about. And you're just going to tell me what you think it's about.
Okay.
Okay? All right. So let's start off easy. Okay. This is like a screenshot of 3 comments. 'Cause why are my friends buying me flowers and he's not? What one man won't do, her girlies will. Love the women in my life. They love me down. True friendship. Okay, Christy, you can kick off. What do you think these comments are about?
It sounds like it's definitely like a personal and social commentary on a video where it showcases like a girlfriend doing all these things, like buying her flowers, and especially to a friend who is single and probably trying to mingle, but so far no luck, and she has nothing to be grateful for besides her friends around to shower her with all the love.
That's a very good guess. And what do you think it's about, Quang?
I think maybe her friends don't like the guy because maybe of what she's been telling the girls. And also the girls, I'm sure the girls have been friends longer than her and the guy have been together. So the girls probably know her much better. And they communicate, I'm sure because they know each other, they know each other's communication styles, and they know what each other's wants and needs are. And it sounds like the dude ain't buying flowers, right? So if you want flowers, why don't you just communicate that? Like, hey, I want you to buy me flowers, instead of saying like, hey, surprise me with flowers. Is that right? Or
okay, so both of you are right. You're a lot closer. And I don't know, girlie, if you remembered, we had a similar conversation where I was talking to you and I said it wasn't until you and Michelle were always buying me things and gifting me things that I started to question with my last ex, like, shit, why doesn't he get me anything? Why is it always my girls taking care of me? So that is what that video was about and what the comments were commenting on.
wait, you made those videos?
I
years
didn't.
ago?
I
Okay.
didn't. But we had a similar conversation about this.
Oh, okay. So
But
it sparked the conversation of you 3 back then. Okay.
But I liked what you said regarding if you want flowers, tell him. But I have a few thoughts on that. But Christy, do you have any thoughts on that?
Oh,
Because this girl has a lot of thoughts and she has a lot of opinions. So I want to see you unpack that.
This might maybe not be like a mutually agreed upon narrative right now, especially with like all the sprinkle stuff. But I actually agree with Quang, because unfortunately we can't read minds. And I hate to say it, but, if that's exactly what you want and you're expecting the other person to do that, you eventually have to learn how to communicate, because everyone wants something different. Not everybody wants, surprisingly, not every girl wants flowers every week. You'd be surprised. So that's my take on it. So
Period. Wayne, I feel like you got something else to say.
I mean, like, yes, you communicate it in a way, but you don't have to be like, hey, I need you to buy me flowers every week or else. What you can say, is, hey, my favorite, you can be like watching TV or be on the internet. And it's like, hey, my favorite flowers are daisies. And hopefully he like makes a mental note like, oh, my favorite flowers are daisy. My favorite ice cream is vanilla. My favorite color is XYZ. Or, if I was sitting around and someone was talking, I'm like, all right, I'll make mental notes, what is missing in their life, and see how I can go fix it. If something simple as flowers is missing from your life, that's like an easy fix. What is that, like $20? It's not like you're buying diamonds or anything.
But I think this is where context does matter, because I don't think the problem is like girls not getting flowers, right? Like, it's not about getting stuff, it's the thought behind it, right? And so hypothetically, if someone were to get flowers every month, would that still be special to that person, versus like someone who only got flowers during a special day like Valentine's Day, and that's the only day that they get flowers, right? And so this is where context does matter, because I think people want to equate flowers to like, oh, they did something meaningful or special, but a lot of people also really like the thought behind it, right? Like, is it the flower that the person likes? Is it her favorite flower? Did this person make the flower, or did this person buy the flower when they're in financial turmoil, right? And so this is kind of where it really just depends on the situation, the person's circumstances, and also like, what their current romantic, initiatives that they're doing or not doing.
Is flowers even, are you guys saying flowers as in you guys really want flowers, or are you saying flowers as an example? Because it can go towards other things like planning spontaneous dates or going out to dinner. Because if you never tell me like, hey, I want to go eat here, I would never even think of going out to eat there.
Do you want that?
But it depends.
You want that person to be like, hey, I want to go here. Like, you want to be told. Exactly.
Sometimes you'd be like, hey, I saw something on TikTok, I saw something on Instagram, I want to check it out, let's go. I'm like, oh, sounds like a good idea. Or I'd be like, what's that place called, Yoshimiro? That's like, hey, that's out of my budget, I can't go.
So since that was from women's perspective, I want to quickly ask, what is the male equivalent to flowers for you? I know men can receive flowers too, and some men do like it, but you personally, what would be your equivalent to receiving flowers?
I love that question.
I can't think of one right now. Maybe just like compliments, like, hey, nice haircut, or
that makes sense,
or like a quick massage on the shoulders. Like, oh, how's your day?
I'm hearing words of affirmations and physical touch from you.
Yeah, maybe like the equivalents of flowers, possibly.
Okay.
Did you take the test?
I took the test, but I don't know if it's accurate. I think 3 of the 5 I'm equal, but the other 2 I'm much lower.
It does change over time.
Yeah.
But let's do one more before we get into all about Christy in this episode.
Oh,
Okay.
All right. So one more comment. No context. Go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna one more last thing from the
please.
previous topic. Is it the size of the gesture, or is it like just the gesture at all? Because let's say someone buys you flowers every week, but he has like I don't know, let's just say he's just super rich, for instance. So flowers isn't gonna, he just automates it. Automates it. Don't think about it. Just here's $100, or I don't know, $200 for the next 3 months. Just send 1 flower every week. Or it would have been someone more broke, but they're like, hey, I only did this once, but I plucked these flowers from a field for you. It may not be mean as much, or it depends. Some people it may mean more, may mean less. Some people care more about the quantity of the flowers as opposed to like, yeah.
I think keyword some people. So it's really going to depend on the person. But to the 3 people watching, we would love to know what you think in the comments. So let us know.
context.
Yes. Let us know what would be more meaningful to you.
Add more context in our comment section.
Nice.
And but before we jump on to the next comment, I do want to I want to be a little messy right now.
Oh,
Okay.
Okay, let's get messy.
don't mess the bed.
Okay. So, Christy, how often or is Erv getting you flowers?
Oh my god.
You should ask him yourself.
Okay. Get over here.
Every major holidays.
Impromptu guest.
So we've got Christy's husband, Urban.
I'm not ready. Hello.
He's a wonderful man, so we're just joking here. He takes good care of my best friend, but also as a best friend, I'm gonna want the world for her. So get her flowers every week. How often do you get her flowers? I'm just kidding.
Once a year, maybe twice.
So birthday and Valentine's. So what is your
Valentine's
favorite?
and maybe a random day.
What is your favorite favorite flowers?
Anniversary.
An anniversary.
Do you have a favorite flower? Smelling or looking?
Yeah, he knows it.
Roses. I'm just kidding. Lilies, duh. What's my favorite flower?
Ooh,
You don't have.
succulents?
Wow. No.
Oh wow! Are you saying that because he don't take care of things? Less maintenance.
Oh boy.
Four.
We can go something else. What's his favorite clothing brand or favorite T-shirt type?
No. Flowers. We're on the topic of flowers.
Sports team. His version of flowers is
Oh my god.
Los Angeles Lakers tickets. Ooh. If they make the playoffs. So when you
She's still thinking.
So the last time you bought flowers, tell me about the last time you bought flowers. Did you go get lilies or roses or like Trader Joe's or some rose spot?
Ralph's.
Oh, that's another thing too. Does the place where you get flowers matter?
Yes, it does.
Because like, because I'm okay with eating cake from anywhere, like a nice bakery, but I'm also okay with eating birthday cake from like Ralph's too. Some people care about that stuff.
I actually like Ralph's cake. It's really good.
Don't forget the microphone.
Oh yeah. Thank you for joining, Irvin. We're just having a little fun. He's
All
a
right.
wonderful guy, and Christy is the best wife, and he is so lucky to have her.
We're gonna fight tonight.
Not only that, she's also lucky to have him as well. She's also lucky to have him as well. Ain't that right?
I just kidding.
He's nodding. He's nodding.
No, he's great.
He's nodding.
Thank you for being such a good sport, both of you. One last comment, and actually, I think Erv would be a great addition to answer this too, if you want to sit on the side for this one, and then Q can pass the mic. But
Okay,
this one's a
okay.
good one, guys. If someone followed you around for a week, would they believe you're serious about your goals?
Ooh. Wow.
Okay, let me read that one more time. If someone followed you around for a week, would they believe you're serious about your goals?
You're talking about like us personally or just in general?
Okay, so let's start off with
That's
Christy.
a good question. Yeah.
Okay, so no context about this comment. What are your first thoughts when you heard these words?
It's a great analogy to really think about, what you're doing day to day, but I could also see the other side where like it could be a little bit more subjective too, because everyone else has different responsibilities. So, I mean, are they being followed 24/7?
I love you. You always think about those details, even in a rhetorical question. All right, Q. What do you think about those words?
I think of how much is enough for you to consider taking steps towards your goals. Because like if I told you like, hey, I read
love
books, and you follow me around, I might read like 2 hours on one day, like on a Sunday, but from Monday through Saturday, I'm not reading books. But I will tell people I read books.
Now, this is a man who deserves to hold a microphone.
But
That's
also,
a good answer.
Yeah, but also like you asked me if I take care of my health.
You do.
For instance, like you're only eating like 3 meals a day. Let's say 3 or 2 and 30 minutes each. Gym, maybe like 1 or 2 hours. So out of I don't know how many hours in a week. Let's just say 100. I don't know the numbers. You guys do the math. Probably eating and gymming might be only like 1 to 10% of your time, but if you're being followed 24% of the time, and to be considered doing something towards your goal, when you have to spend at least 50% of your time doing those things. But also like financial goals, physical health goals, any other goals.
And Irvin, what do you think of those words?
Oh, special guest.
I had a short answer to your question. Initially, my answer was yes. They would think I'm serious about my goal. But then I thought about it more, and it really depends when they follow me, because it depends on the goal that I have. Like, for example, right now, I'm looking for a job. And so if they follow me around every day, like they're going to see me interview prepping, job searching, and that's about it. I spend like 8 to 12 hours a day doing that. But if they were to follow me around like maybe 6 months ago, where life was good and I was traveling and I was in Chicago, like, okay, I guess having fun's a goal. Like, I mean, sure.
It is.
So I go back to my initial answer. Yes.
Your work-life balance is also a goal too. Fun and business, half pleasure.
That's a good point. I love that.
All right. Thank you, everyone, for indulging in that. I think that's quite a fun segment because Christy knows that sometimes I'll send her screenshots of comments that I see on the interwebs. And I really like this, where getting your first reaction with no context whatsoever, and then just kind of sharing your thoughts on that. So we did 2 today. But now let's get into what this episode is all about, which is Christy. All right, Q.
It can't be all about me.
It'll be about us, but mainly you.
You're our featured guest today.
Yeah, you're our first guest, actually.
Oh, I
You and
am?
Irvin.
Okay.
First couple guests. A 2-for-1 special.
Actually, we can even remix this episode too, and have Irvin sit in and ask you guys, because you two are a freaking beautiful couple. Like,
Aww.
I love you guys so much, and it would be awesome to, if you're open to it, get your insights on what it's like being married. 'Cause you've been married for what, 2 years now?
Almost
2
like
years?
a year and a half.
A year and a half, but together for
Now
10.
10 years. Yeah.
That's what a blessing.
Damn, 2015?
What a freaking blessing.
2015.
I'm impressed, guys.
And when they got with each other, they were just completely different people. Like, Christy, you have just grown. You freaking changed. Like, if I were to really compare you to how I knew you when I first met you, I would really say you're a different person now. That even sometimes, like, it's hard for me to grasp, because sometimes, like, I will think of old Christy.
Oh, really?
And so, yeah, and sometimes when you're telling me things, I'm like, it's still catching up, because we've just been friends for so long.
Oh, I didn't know that. Wait, tell me more about.
We had a conversation about this.
Oh, I know, but I'm like, I guess I didn't realize it's like an ongoing thing for you.
Yeah, we'll unpack that, but first, Q set up like a very awesome outline for us, and I do think it's important to kind of give context here on like how we all know each other. So I think you and Q actually met first.
Yes. Surprisingly, we've known each other longer than I've known Boba.
That's crazy. I think we met, you were probably like 18 or 19. You were probably a freshman in college.
I was, freshman in college. I was
the
18.
end of your freshman year. Mm-hmm. And because I think I didn't really get to meet people until the end of your first year there. And I was a transfer student.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, so I didn't really spend my first 2 years in college at Santa Barbara. I spent my first 2 years at Golden West trying to live a whole different goal, different plan, different group of friends, different group of people. And the whole entire life at Golden West was so crazy, so hectic. It would have to be off air. I have to tell you
Ooh.
stories off air, but or maybe
Off
I
Our
can.
Patreon
Ooh.
exclusive episode.
Next episode.
Yeah.
Q, can I ask, what made you decide to transfer to Santa Barbara?
You know what's crazy? Back then when I was 18, 19, 20, the age 30 seems so much older, even though it's 10 years older than us. In the grand scheme of life, 30 is not that old. 30 is like pretty young still. And I don't even know. Like, I used to play sports, and then I hurt my knee playing football. And then like I couldn't move, I couldn't do anything, couldn't go hang out with my friends. Two things I did that year or that summer that I hurt my leg. I learned how to play guitar and piano, and mainly guitar, and I started reading, because those two things like you can just do sitting down. But mainly, I had an English teacher at Golden West. I don't know if he's still there or not. His name was Paul Thayer, but Dr. Paul or whatever. He was just a guy that when he spoke in front of a class, like everybody listened to him, and he had a way different perspective. He also went to Santa Barbara, and because he said he moved to Santa Barbara and had an open mind, I was like, maybe I should go to Santa Barbara and have an open mind, because I originally wanted to be like a writer for like a TV show, and in order to be funny, I think I needed like new perspective. And if I was living in Orange County forever and hanging out with the same friends, my mind would not be opened. And I did feel at that time I did get stuck with, no offense to my friends back then, but I felt stuck with them. Like it felt toxic at times, but we're all good now. But just a bunch of high testosterone, like 18, 19, 20-year-olds, we were kind of crazy. Yeah, so mainly that teacher, me getting hurt, having this big dilemma in life. Because before you guys met me, like up until high school, I was like really big into like going to church.
Wow.
Church and sports. So I was like pretty much like redneck Texas football kind of deal. And then when my body failed me, I was like, wow, I can't believe I worked hard and my whole life just changed. My main goal is no longer my main goal. And then that's when I started smoking. Like luckily some of my friends were there. That's the first time I ever smoked weed. That definitely opened my mind. And I'm kind of glad the direction that weed has gone lately, because I feel like I'm very much like Joe Rogan, where back in the day he saw weed as like the most craziest thing in the world. But now looking back, weed is just like this very like one step above alcohol, or maybe in the same realm as alcohol.
One step.
Yeah, like weed is not heroin, not meth. Even though people are in prison still for weed.
I love how reflective you are, and you really have quite a journey. But it also makes me realize, girly, I don't think I've ever asked you like why you chose Santa Barbara as well.
Oh.
Yeah, what's your lore?
Did I tell
don't
you?
think so.
I never told you?
Mm-mm.
Okay.
Sure.
So I'm originally from LA, and
East LA, right?
yeah,
Wow.
but also central to Chinatown. Was where I lived, but I went to school mostly in East LA. I actually did go to school in downtown LA, and then I transferred to East LA. I went to Lincoln High School, and that school, of course, is not the highest performing school. It was already really difficult for students to graduate. I think we had like a 49 percentile of students graduating. And during my year, only 20% of the graduating class went to college.
Wow, that's some crazy numbers.
I used to be involved in a nonprofit for educational access. And so, of course, that's why I know these statistics.
And were you like a good student in high school, or?
I try to be. Yeah, I was mostly a good student, but I would say I was more on kind of in the middle, because I had friends who were either in honors and AP classes, and AP classes are college level classes, but I was in also regular classes that were non-honors. And so I felt like I was in different worlds. Like one day you're in a regular class with a bunch of students who are just being rowdy, loud. They don't want to learn. It's very obvious that they don't want to be there. And then next thing you know, in the afternoon, I'm in an AP class and everyone's just so quiet, so obedient. And it felt like I was in like two different polar opposite worlds. But I actually learned a lot from all the classes, you know, and so I didn't really like have a preference or anything. I was just trying to get by, and I was involved in a lot of different extracurricular activities, including, you know, being part of the nonprofit called Inner City Struggle. And so eventually I became like a youth organizer there, and you know, we've done things like protesting against like LAUSD, which is like the big school district in LA. And at that time, I really wanted to be as far away from the city as possible. I always tell a lot of people this, that it's kind of funny because everybody after college, I think, wants to go to a city or wants to experience the city life. But when you're living in an inner city, everybody wants to get out of the city. And so when you're thinking of leaving the city to go somewhere far away, UC Berkeley was my dream school at that time. And I tried to get in, didn't get in. I tried to appeal, I still didn't get in. And the two other UC schools that were the next top was Santa Barbara and UC Irvine. And I didn't want to go to Irvine because that's where a lot of my high school friends were going.
I think I had the same thing as you too. Those are my two schools.
Those are you too.
Yeah. And I also wanted to get away from the world.
It's so crazy because there's times where I've told people, yeah, I got into UCI too, but I picked Santa Barbara over UCI. And other people be like, wow, you got in UCI? I wanted to go there. And I'm just like, why?
I think that's the first big decision as a young adult. Like, you're 18 years old. That's the first big decision, because if you didn't choose your school, you have a whole different set of friends. I think if I didn't go to Santa Barbara, I wouldn't go to be a certain groomsman for certain people.
Okay, well, I didn't think that far. Not at 18, no.
Like, yeah, let's say if we were in a club, a sorority, or a frat, like we may have interacted, but we wouldn't have the same strength of a friendship.
Yeah, that is, I think, well, that's the thing I overlooked, right? And so going to Santa Barbara, you just don't realize how different Santa Barbara is from like LA, and you just don't realize the demographics are different. And you know, eventually I got a culture shock going there, and eventually I didn't do that well in the first quarter, so I was on probationary period, and then I got kicked out.
No way. So your second year, you weren't in school?
The second year, I was actually at Santa Barbara City College.
Did I know that?
Did I?
I don't remember.
You know what? I don't know if you knew. I don't think a lot of people knew that.
Because you were in our club.
I was
You were in our same club.
I was still going to the meetings at UC Santa Barbara, but I was technically going to City College, and I never told my parents. And I didn't tell them for a very long time. And that's how I met Jason, my other friend. So yeah, I think I only got kicked out for like a quarter. They said that I would have to come back, I think, in spring or winter quarter, the next quarter. But at that time, I was contemplating whether I should just do like a year off just to go to CC. And that was when I really kind of understood what it was like going back to city college. It's like you just never left high school.
I think there's no mistakes in life. I think you just have like little happy accidents here and there.
Oh, I love that happy accident.
Yeah, you're right. You would have never met. If I never hurt my leg, I would never went to Santa Barbara. You never had your probation stuff. You would have never met Dason
and I would have, and you.
Yeah, and Dason was the reason why we met.
Yeah.
But I love hearing both of your stories, because I am familiar with some of it, not all of it. And there were some new things that I learned this time around. And I just want to say I'm really proud of you both, because I think transferring is not easy. And it was after a loss of your identity as an athlete and as someone who was a churchgoer, and it seemed like you went inwards and explored these different passions, and you're a fantastic writer too. So I'm just really proud of you and how you made your way to Santa Barbara. And you too, girly, especially you. You have this like amazing story of really having to, like, you struggled your way out. Nothing was ever easy for you. I've never seen that. Like, nothing was so easy for you. Like, you really had to fight your way out and then fight your way to stay. And through it all, you've just been such a like uplifting person. Like, you've always been giving and encouraging to other people. So I hope both of you can look at your younger selves and be like, we fucking did that, guys.
Dang, she's buttering us up.
Damn, that's sweet of you both.
We need some more butter for her. Where's our butter?
But you know what? Let's bring it back. Let's fast forward a little bit to when both of you two met. So you mentioned that you met at a club. And that club's, I think it's one of my favorite clubs ever, which
Really?
is the Vietnamese
VSA?
Student Association.
The Vietnamese
They
students.
fucking are the most like welcoming people, always through the best party. And like, I've not met anyone I didn't like from VSA. I love VSA. I love VSA.
Oh, wow.
So,
You're
how'd you guys meet?
I just want to preface that you enjoyed VSA on the sidelines, but
I did.
when you're staff, it's a little different.
Yeah.
Oh, I've heard.
I think I forgot that Boba told me like a couple weeks ago that you were president, but I don't remember what year you were president.
I don't know if you were, I think you left at that time.
I think I was.
You were.
I left for a year. Remember, I hurt my leg at Santa Barbara again. I hurt my leg again at Santa Barbara. So
Oh.
we were playing intramural basketball, and so every class I took that semester, I had to drop it. So I had to remake all those classes for that year because everyone bikes. Everyone biked to class, and I couldn't even walk. I was like, I need to get dropped off, and so I just decided to take all those classes for that semester like later on.
That's crazy.
What year was it? Like 2012, 2013, or
It
2014?
was 2013 to 2014.
No, okay.
Yeah. So, but I was also secretary of the year before that. And then I think that was like just those two roles. And but every year it was always something different.
And that's how you two met?
I think so.
That's how we met.
But how did the friendship develop?
Honestly, Kwang was more of like a mutual friend in passing. And, there's times where like we all met up with Danny, Rochelle, and I
Like
would see you there.
just a big group.
Yeah, it's a big group outing, and then we would all hang out. I think I remember also you helped me with my bike.
Oh.
It sounded nice here.
Oh, what's the actual story?
But me and Rochelle's husband, Dan, we used to steal lots and lots of bikes. We were like
Stealing bikes was a big thing in Santa Barbara.
He would come to my house like, hey, yo, I see that bike. I'm like, fine, I'll help you out. And then
He doesn't steal anymore.
yeah, no more. This is like 15 years ago. Well, like almost 15 years ago. But I think we stole. I'm not even put a number of dollars out there. A lot of bikes selling for $200 each, and I think that got us through like a lot of summers, a lot of barbecues, a lot of beer.
That's funny.
But yeah.
I honestly forgot you guys did that. I was just thinking about the time you helped me spray paint my bike.
Yeah, I think we were in that mode. But did you ever hear that? Did you ever hear that Facebook group? I forgot what it's called. I want to say it's called Casual Encounters, where it's mainly for people who meet at parties. This is when Facebook was the main thing. There was like no Instagram, there was no Reddit. Mm-hmm. So if you like met someone at a party and you couldn't get in contact with them, you would just go on this thing like, hey, I met you at a party, you look like this, your name was this, and then their friends would tag them like, hey, is this you? Did you talk to this girl or this guy? So they had a Facebook group for people finding missing people like at a parties. But one of them put in like, hey, I see this one guy at Chimney Sweeps, and he has a serious look on his face, and he's painting and working on bikes every day. They weren't talking about me, they were talking about Danny, but they thought it was like, hey, did you submit this into this Facebook page? But it must be one of their neighbors that submitted it.
Oh. Did anybody respond to that?
I hope no one put my name out there, but they text me like, hey, yo, did you put this out there? Like, nope, not me.
Well, no one said anything, so that.
Yeah, no snitching. No snitching.
Except for now.
I think statute of limitation has passed.
But you were a completely different person then. You're not a thief anymore.
Oh.
But yeah, so you guys met at Santa Barbara, when you're a college student, you were a college student slash thief. And then fast forward.
Hey, yo, you know that? What's that phrase? When the pot call a kettle black.
Oh, hey.
I think that's how this phrase goes.
Fast forward to post college. Well, actually, let's go back to that. I think I feel like most Asian kids can say they had a shoplifting like a shoplifting era.
Did you have?
Wait,
like,
why'd you say Asian kids though?
I think all kids like more.
Oh, really? Okay.
Women, right?
Yeah,
Maybe
like,
it's because
you said more. Okay, more women.
I see like more of the women I know shoplift, and because like if someone like me walks to a store, I get profiled right away, so I don't like do it as much. Oh yeah, but
I see.
But before then, do you want to like discuss how you guys met, or
Oh,
because we haven't really talked about why you chose Santa Barbara, Bopes, and also where you grew up and how'd you guys meet and how your friendship came along.
yes.
yeah, I chose Santa Barbara because it was the closest college to home, and I didn't have plans to go to college. I was just raised. My parents, I love them so much. They are such beautiful parents, and they took really great care of me to the point where I felt like I was over sheltered. So college wasn't really a goal of mine. And thank God for my high school best friend, who I'm still best friends with till this day, Justine and Christy. Justine and another friend went to talk to my parents and said, "Are you going to encourage Bopa to go to college? Like, she doesn't seem like she has any plans. Are you?"
They didn't encourage you at all?
No, because
That's crazy.
they weren't knowledgeable. Immigrant parents. Some know
Yeah.
about it, some don't.
Yeah,
And
that's true. Mine didn't either.
yeah, they confused not confused, but like, oh, Harvard and a community college, same thing,
Oh,
not
yeah.
same thing. And bless their hearts. And yeah, and so that conversation started my path to apply to college, and then I got into Santa Barbara. Didn't really have a thought about where I wanted to go. I said, cool, this is the closest one, let's just go. And that's really why I went, and I'm so thankful that I was accepted and that I got the opportunity to go, because it really changed the trajectory of my life. And I met Christy it was in our 4th year, through a mutual friend, Dason.
My 4th year or your 4th year?
My 4th year, her 3rd year, because she's a year younger than me.
Wait, what was your original plan gonna be if you didn't go to college?
Honestly, I was just living day by day. That's how sheltered I was and well taken care of. It's not like we were rich or anything. We were actually very struggling because my parents had a donut shop at that time, and it wasn't doing well. It was like during a recession, and yeah, it just wasn't doing well. But they shielded me from that, and I was just like a very happy kid. Very simple. To this day, I'm still a very simple person, and
She is very simple
so I didn't have any plans for the future.
and single.
Thank you.
Boys,
But yeah, that's
maybe
really
girls.
There's also like
Girls-
duality of like sheltered and unsheltered. Like you're just like roaming the streets.
That is true. Yeah,
I couldn't walk across the street and there's a liquor store across my home, very less than a minute walk, less than 30 seconds, and I was not allowed to walk across the street until I was 17.
Meanwhile, I'm walking the streets at 4 a.m. in the morning.
And you know what? I
That's
recently
crazy.
went home. I recently went home, and I didn't. Lena, my sister, she didn't go with me, and
We'll bleep that name. We'll bleep that name.
Fine.
Okay, sure.
And she wasn't home with me, and I remember wanting to go get a bag of chips. I think this was maybe 2 months ago. I wanted to go across the street to buy a bag of chips, but I think that like childhood programming in me, don't go across the street alone.
What?
And I like 34 now, and I was like, could not go across the street. I was just like stuck in a house.
Girl, you walked New York streets just to go
I
see
know, but
Harry
just
Potter Broadway show.
I know, the programming was so real. It is very.
Is it a 7-Eleven?
No, it's not.
Was it Circle K or something? Or what
No, it's just like some
liquor store?
yeah,
right?
just a liquor store.
And this is I don't know much about your area. Is or like a ghetto area or
Whoa,
a nice
bleep,
area,
bleep, bleep. Okay, now this is the information you want to bleep.
Or Hollywood. I don't know.
So,
I mean, 'cause we have an LA, Orange
well, my
County.
hometown where I live is on. It's like literally on the cusp. It's on the cusp of go a little bit too far down, and you can consider it ghetto. Go a little bit far up, and it's okay. It's okay. So I'm right in the middle.
What county is that in? Is it Santa Barbara County or Ventura County or LA County?
Maybe we don't have to say county.
Oh, I don't. The county is like much more vague, but I was saying like there's also like 3 different people where all 3 of us from 3 different counties as well too. If you're from a different county.
Yeah, but she said she already outed hers, but I don't want to out mine.
All right. My
Me?
bad.
Yeah, but yours is like a big ass. LA is huge.
Well, I said
Oh yeah, you did say so. But you know
that's
what's still huge? It's like big. But yeah, let's fast forward to post college, because I feel that's where we each started to develop a really tight friendship, like individually. So I know post college, well, ever since college, we've been thick as thieves.
inseparable.
Yeah. And then a couple years ago was when Quang and I got really close.
So what major events made you guys close? Did you guys like?
Oh, I love that
I always
question.
think of like maybe you 2 got stranded somewhere
No.
or
I do want to say that there was never, I can't remember a time in Christy and my friendship where I can recall us getting to know each other. It's always felt like we've known each other since day one.
Facts.
So I feel like our souls just recognized each other. What do you think?
Peer and purr.
Well, you can answer his question because you seem to like that.
Major fact. I mean, I love the question, but I do also wholeheartedly agree with you 1,000%. So I'll leave it at that.
Yeah. Well, I can to answer it too, though, just for the sake of answering, is man, Christy is, I reflected over the years of how she's had my back through 2 back-to-back toxic relationships.
Thick and thin.
Yeah, like
Thin and thick.
It's not easy now in hindsight to watch a friend or anyone you love
be hurt. Yeah.
Yeah, be hurt and
For a decade.
yeah,
More than a decade.
And counting.
Okay, not counting. I hope I'm not counting. No, you deserve to say all the things because it's true. Like you really stuck through it with me, and yeah, because it's not easy watching a person kind of like accept that and tolerate it, especially someone you love and you believe that they deserve so much better.
Oh, I love that. I love that you're able to see that, I guess.
And you know what else? Okay, also something that I screenshotted too was my previous ex. I was not considerate, like to have a man constantly up in your space that you didn't even know. Like I had him over all the time.
Honestly, I didn't even.
I know you say you don't like, you didn't mind and you never showed it. You never treated it as such. But when I saw that comment and I screenshot it somewhere from another video, for context, I came across this video on TikTok where this girl was ranting about how her roommate always has her boyfriend over. And I was going through the comments and I saw one of the comments say, oh, having a man up in your space that you don't even want there is so disrespectful. And it made me reflect on how I always had my ex over. And it wasn't like I was trying to be disrespectful. I just felt like this person needed a lot of love and attention. And so it was, and I felt like our space and the people I was surrounded by, was you and Michelle at that time, was like a good environment for that person to be in. And I didn't have the awareness or the consideration to really think like, he is imposing. On top of them, you and Michelle having to put up with the fact that you did not want me to be with him.
Yeah, that was hard. I mean, I think that was the hardest part. A context too, we were roommates. Like,
Oh yes.
me and Popa shared a master room together. So there were many days where it was the three of us Sometimes 4, yes, because
You know what?
because
I loved it when Erv slept over. I loved it when it was the 3 of us. Because he was such more than my ex.
How often was he over? Like how many days
Because
a
I was
week?
over every week, I think. Oh no, not every week. Every other
Every day.
Every day. How far were we?
Well, when he moved to Orange County, yeah.
Oh, you
Okay.
mean my ex or Irvin? Oh, he means it's not.
Oh,
so
okay.
like what city did he live into? Like close enough to drive or like LA County?
He
was it like 30 minutes away?
Yeah,
he was-
Anaheim,
okay.
not far. He had his
Okay.
own space and stuff. It just was not.
He did have his. I forgot. Okay, yeah, he did.
Yeah,
have
but it was
his
like
own
so
space.
dirty because that person did not know how to clean up after themselves, and like
It's a bachelor pad.
So
It's
his bad habit.
carried to your house.
Yeah.
it almost did, but like I think I was cleaning up after him, which added to
More
Michelle,
stress and
yeah,
more
and
work on-
Christy just being like, "What the fuck are you doing?"
I'm trying to remember if I ever felt that way, but I don't.
No, you were a
because
good
I think you were
sport.
really good at cleaning up after him.
So another question, like how early on did you not like him? Like let's say
In the beginning.
Then how come like you didn't take her advice? Or how come both of you
I
listened
didn't
to her?
know.
Huh?
I didn't know.
Oh my God, Craig.
Because I think like a friend's advice matters. Include, I know, I'm sure like a friend dates you.
You would.
but
I mean,
they
on
don't want to date the
paper,
whole crew.
on paper, it would, but it's. I guess like at that time, even it's hard. Like if you actually like the person, right?
Mm-hmm.
And well, here's my theory. Right? I don't want to speak for you, but this is kind of what I saw. Was it felt like it seemed like there was a lot of opportunities for change.
And was there change? Did it get better, improve as a person? I know for you may not felt like it, but like I don't know from Chrissy's point of view. Did you?
No, it did not change.
Okay, no growth at all.
They're like, I think I had told her to break up with him like 2 times, but that was when I had said the B word, right?
What's the B word? Breakup.
Yeah, the breakup, right? And I think the first time, or maybe like the first couple of times, it was really just initiated from like her venting to me, and then I just didn't like want her to go through it again. I was sick and tired of hearing all the complaints, and it didn't seem like it was going to get better. But then there was one point where they were having a big argument in Vegas, and you guys had a huge fight, and then I think the weekend after you guys made up. And then I remember feeling like, oh,
Was it just you two in Vegas or the whole crew? Or
I think it was with his friends too, right?
I'm trying to remember, but in the beginning,
Sorry, you gotta relive
Christy
this.
didn't. No.
All right.
I've healed from it, and I remember in the beginning that Christy didn't say anything because Christy is the type of person that will let you learn on your own, and she doesn't intervene too much. And it wasn't until I did start venting. Yeah. So this was maybe.
I think it was a year later.
Yes, it was
a
a year.
You were like really angry. You were frustrated with him, and it's rare that you would even call me to vent about a guy when we lived together. Like that.
Yeah, and to answer your question about growth, I remember a comment that Irvin actually said. How, I don't know, I think maybe it was 4 years into the relationship. And I think Irvin said something along the lines of, like, he acknowledged the growth and the progress that I've made year over year. Whereas, look at him shaking his head. And whereas my ex, nothing. Like, truly, truly nothing.
What'd you like about him to stay that long?
I was projecting, and we had this conversation too, and not to take that conversation in this way because it's about Christy, but I was just more projecting things onto him, and as well as I do feel it was a pattern that I was stuck in and I needed to play it out. Unfortunately, it was a very long play out, but I got out. Christy was the first one I went to, and we're here now. But I just want to, I reflect on it sometimes because you were, to your question, she's been through thick and thin with me. Back-to-back toxic relationships, broke She's bailed me out. Yeah.
Those other relationships made this relationship stronger right here between you two.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that framework.
And the one before Snot, when I left that toxic relationship, Christy was the one to coordinate me moving in. Like, I did not have to worry about where am I going to move? Like, do I need to get my own place? She was like, all right, girl, we ready for you.
Yeah. You know what's crazy though? I think it was because I had a hunch a month prior.
We did talk a month prior. I remember all that too.
So do you have like pretty strong intuition in life?
I think it was because she was like moving in with him.
And it was about a year that I lived. It was Sam. Like, ugh.
Yeah. And so it was the first time where I saw her actually kind of
Like,
stepping into something more serious with a guy, but it was with someone who is, I wouldn't say unknown. It was more like we haven't really gotten to see any good parts of him.
Like, what do you mean? You mean like it kept Bopa isolated from your friends?
Yeah, it did. This was a relationship where we just had no idea what type of boyfriend he was to her. We didn't know what she liked about him. She dedicated a lot of her time with him. And so maybe the other friends knew more, but for me, it felt like he was taking her away from us because of just how much time she just would go over there.
Can I write all the prompts for your dating app? Like whatever prompt you get, I'll type it in to get like the most optimal. Because I saw recently this week that there are NFL players on Hinge.
Wait, seriously?
Yes, NFL players on Hinge right now.
Are they the really good players?
Oh, that's a smart question.
Even if they suck, they're still millionaires.
Okay,
So it's
I mean,
fine.
whoa. Are they?
Separate topic, but I don't see myself doing any dating apps. I don't have anything against dating apps. I want to take my bets organically.
I think
For
you're
now.
probably
For
just
now.
exhausted for now. But if you and I or us three, people that know you best, like take the reins on this, I think we can be optimal with it.
I think we should
Same
do
for
that
your-
for you,
Same
dude.
for your sisters.
I think okay. So Paris wants to give you a makeover. We all want to contribute, and we should do like an episode giving you a makeover because you're beautiful,
And,
but you
yeah.
gotta.
Shut the fuck up. What do you mean? Lose a few pounds?
No, like these pants on you, I fucking love them. I've never seen you in these type of pants, and so just like a few different pieces, like
Tweaks.
amazing,
Yeah,
Queen,
I
and
know.
then take pictures of you.
I've never wear pants and I never take photos.
That's what we mean. So I feel like let's switch it back on you. Let's do you first before we do me.
Because I think
Aren't you on the apps?
I stopped. I stopped a
you're
long
not-
time
But
ago.
you stopped, or did you delete the apps? Two different things.
There's a setting where you can put it on pause.
Okay, so see, I don't have
I
the
didn't
apps
know
at
that.
all.
So like they won't give me new people. I won't say nothing new people. But I think it's important for like in the dating world where instead of women listening to other women, I think women should take men's perspective and men should take women's perspective.
Ooh.
We'll do an episode on that.
Yeah.
But you first, because you actually have the apps on your
No,
phone.
no,
It's
no,
just
no,
on
no.
pause.
You make it sound like downloading the app is such a hard thing.
Okay,
Just go to the app store, enter your email, password.
you know damn well creating a whole ass profile, selecting your pictures, especially if you don't have them. It's a process. But this isn't about our dating profiles. This is about Christy. And
Christy's dating profile.
no.
This is about Christy's husband and her boyfriends.
her harem. But yeah, I think from this episode you can gather what an incredibly loyal and patient and generous friend you are.
Aw.
Yeah,
Dang.
So let's talk about her
The
bad
butter don't
side.
stop.
yeah, the impact that you have on her.
No, impact is
better.
real. Impact is real.
It had an impact on me too, though. Oh.
I will say one of the topics that Q had planned
Okay.
was about, which I really love, was about being eldest, because we're all eldest child.
You're the oldest?
I got two younger brothers, but they're way different than I am.
So what
Yeah.
you have in mind about this topic?
I feel that.
And you're
Wait,
and like
what's the age gap?
Your guys' age. They're your guys' age. So one of my brothers, like, we're all 18 months apart, a year and a half from each other.
Yeah, same here.
So my youngest brother is your age, Christy, and then my middle brother is maybe like
A year older than me?
like a year and a half older than you.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So we have a similar, like a trio dynamic.
Wait, I think you had way more than.
I do.
Oh, but is your younger siblings like?
They're Gen Z.
No, are they like from different parents? Like they're from a stepmom, stepdad, or?
No, it's just that they had a completely different upbringing because my parents moved out of state. And so you can imagine that my two youngest siblings, they're 10 years younger than me, and then they also grew up in a different state. So like it's just a whole thing.
Oh, so it was like an age gap.
Yeah, it's an age gap, a cultural gap, and location gap too.
I love you as an older sister because
I wish I wasn't the oldest.
I know.
Can I guess? Did you wish you were the baby?
No, I don't.
Do you wish you were the middle?
Yeah, I do actually. I do.
Why?
I think because having someone younger, I think is really cool. But I have always wanted to know what it feels like to have an older sibling that I can look up to because I don't have all the answers to everything.
You're paving the road for everyone, and
You have to. You don't have a choice.
And you're
you don't have a choice.
and you're the first person that your parents has to like figure things out with.
Yeah, because
So by the time they got second, third, fourth kid, like they kind of figured out a little bit.
Yeah, they figure it out. They know who to go to. It's harder when you're the first person in your family to go to college because then you're considered like the first generation college student, which you are too. And I think you are too, right?
My mom went to college,
Oh, okay.
but in a different state.
Okay, well, then it's just us. Yeah, and so I didn't know that in itself is a radial disadvantage for a lot of people, which is why there are programs. And I wish I did the EAP program too, which is like for first gen at Santa Barbara.
I didn't even know.
I mean, I think I knew, but I was just so involved in VSA and other clubs too at that time. But yeah, it sucks because I think that's why subconsciously I have always tried to make friends with people who are older than me. Whether it was like 1 year, 2 years, 10 years older than me, I just love talking to older people because I can't go to my parents for advice and I don't have anyone else to go to for advice. So I had to like seek advice out from other people who are older than me. And I think that's one of the reasons why it really permeated in my work life too, where unfortunately when I got my first car at 23, I didn't know how to put gas in a car. And so my coworker at the time taught me how to use my car, and he taught me how to put gas in a car. And it wasn't my mom, it wasn't my dad, it wasn't my family or anyone else. Like it wasn't even my own friends, you know? And I guess that shouldn't be normal, but at that time when that happened, it was, I guess like you don't know that it's not normal until like you actually are told, you don't know how to do this, you should know how to do this. And like, am I supposed to know how to do it? Because no one told me, right? And so those are just like the little things. Well, I guess it could be like, you gotta know how to put gas in your car.
Did your parents drop you off in high school or middle school, or how did that work?
My dad would drop me off in high school and pick me up, but I mostly took the bus and the metro. So I mostly took the subway.
So you didn't really sit much in your parents' car while they got gas?
I mean, I did, but I wasn't the one putting gas in. Like, I'm 16.
Got it. But yeah, you're like in the city, more bus, more
buses, more metro, more subways or railways too. So underground, above ground, yeah.
How are you with your sisters? Like your they're two older ones. Were you guys close, beefing a lot, fighting a lot?
We were definitely beefing. Yeah, when we were younger, we were beefing. But when we were kids, we got along. I feel like we got along as kids. I think once you become like a preteen, I feel like your brain is just
chemicals, dude. Hormones.
How would you describe yourself as, okay, let's break this up into two questions. How would you describe yourself as an older sibling back then as to now?
Oh, easy. Older sibling, I didn't want to be associated with my family at all. I want nothing to do with them. That's why I wanted to go as far away as possible to get away from home, really. But I think deep down, all of us, I think when you're a kid and you know that you're poor, it's very different, right? And so when you know you're poor, the moment your brain realizes that you live in a poor neighborhood and your family's poor, you can't go anywhere, do anything, it really kind of changes your mindset. You're forced to grow older and mature faster. And so I think me and my two sisters at the time, because my two youngest, I have 4 siblings for context, and then the second oldest is just 1 year younger than me. The second oldest is just 2 years younger than me. So it was like the 3 of us close in age. And I think all of us were aware of how much we really needed to raise ourselves. But because we raised ourselves, we were all raised differently, and we all were very different people, right? One of my sisters, the third oldest, was an athlete, and then the second oldest she was doing her thing and had different friends. And, you know, for me, I had a different set of friends too. And, you know, definitely the second oldest, she's more kind of family oriented, she kind of was more like a caretaker. And then versus me, I was like kind of more that hyper independent type of thing. And then now as an oldest sister today, it's very different because you start to go through things in life where you wish you can help your younger sisters or your younger siblings of things that happen in your life, but you can't. It's kind of like watching you going through a train wreck. And you want to not go through the train wreck, and you want to save that person as much as you can.
Absolutely.
But you can't. So you have to wait until your sisters come to you, and then they have to learn on their own about things in life, whether it's advocating for yourself at work, learning how to love yourself, or realizing that you deserve better in a relationship. Like all those things you're going to go through in life. And at that time, I think because I had to be the first one to grow and mature, I wanted to be able to instill that onto my sisters, but I couldn't. Right. And that's the sucky thing. And that's why we probably didn't talk for a very long time, was because, you know, your maturity level is.
And that's a lot to ask for. You were probably like a minor at the time. I'm sure, like teenager, right? Or younger? Or
well,
older?
This is like post-college. So we didn't really talk for years. And just because we didn't really have a lot of things in common as well, and just life. We were all dealing with things in our own life. But, you know, sometimes I would see my sisters here and there, but it wasn't like we understood the things that we had gone through. And surprisingly, it wasn't until after 2 of my sisters had gone through like a big breakup. One of them got a divorce. The other one ended their relationship after 10 years.
Oh my goodness.
So after that, that's kind of when you see the light at the end of the tunnel.
Like you're one of us now. You felt the pain.
Yeah.
You gone through it.
Yeah. Yeah. You gone through it. Now you could talk more about things like real stuff. And you have a much more mature conversation. And I think that was very refreshing because you can connect a lot more to each other when you really agree on, yeah, it's hard, but you got to do this, you got to go do that or something. And you understand what the other person was trying to say.
Would you say Irvin, whether indirectly or directly, played a part in you and your sisters kind of developing a closer relationship? And I ask this because as a third person who also knows and loves your sisters, I love them. I have my own relationship with them. I remember when I first met you and started learning about your family. I didn't know you had family because you just never talked about
what?
them. People said that, right?
Yeah, people have said that, which I thought was so weird because I remember someone telling me, a mutual friend telling me, like, Christy, you didn't tell me you had sisters. And I'm like, why? Why should I tell you that? And in my mind, the programming is you're so hyper independent. You just want to focus on yourself and you want to keep everyone separated. And that was kind of what my philosophy was that had developed back in high school was I need to keep everybody in my life separate, because I have seen some things where people either didn't get along with each other, or someone has feelings for someone and then it just got messy, and then you just going through all this drama. And I think that was me acting like, okay, I need to not be part of like a situation where people
You're
are
just
mixing.
keeping yourself safe.
Keeping myself safe, keeping other people safe, thinking I was keeping other people safe, but
Exactly. And when I learned that you had sisters, and then over the years I got to kind of see you go from no relationship to, okay, they're starting to come around a little bit more, starting to get a little bit closer. And it wasn't until our New York trip when that Irvin plan to propose to you was when I saw like your relationship.
the dynamics with my sisters.
But around the years you started getting a little bit closer was when you and Irvin were in relationship too. So I'm curious if that had any impact.
Oh, that's
And
a good
what'd
question.
you say, Irvin? Come here. Get on this
Yeah,
episode.
and
Here,
also,
sit in here. You can take this spot. I'll ask questions from the side.
And also, dynamic wise, Irvin is a younger brother.
Oh, that's a good point. You sit here. Sit next to your wife.
I think he's
He's like,
He's
give
little
me
nervous.
that microphone.
He doesn't have his he doesn't have his Christy shirt on.
I was trying to look for it. I can't
And
find
free
it.
feet, guys. Free feet.
Hello, baby.
Hi, baby.
Oh, yes.
Oh.
Yeah, I have to,
Oh
the pixel. Hey, don't move. Don't wiggle your toes. Why are you wiggling your toes?
Why not?
no!
All right.
I'm not ashamed.
Put your feet under the blanket.
Oh, you're right.
Can't
You're
even
right.
wiggle his own toes in his own
Put your
house,
feet under the blanket.
in his own bed.
How about you? So can we
50
share
bucks.
this with you?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. From your perspective, Irvin, tell us how you viewed their relationship, because you have a relationship with your brother. I know it's just you and your brother. But I do feel like, I don't know, whether indirectly or directly, I felt like you contributed to them getting a little bit closer.
Honestly, I've never thought about that before until now.
Okay.
So,
But
I don't know if I had and I'm sure she
Answer is no.
didn't think about that either, but maybe I did. I don't know. I want to hear from her.
Oh.
did you
But I
fight?
will say from my perspective, just a little bit, just seeing how her relationship with you, just think the opposite of that, and that's her relationship with her sisters. Like, she's so blunt with them, and
I am.
she's just low-key kind of mean. I'm just kidding.
I'm not
She can be,
mean.
she can
I'm
be.
just
Real though.
But it's
honest.
like,
Real though.
she'll say it's tough love, and it is.
It is tough love.
But, vice versa. That's just how their relationship is.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's why I resonated with Bretman Rock's relationship with his sister. And I resonated so much with his response to everybody calling him out on, he's so mean to her, whatever, And a lot of the things that I see him say and do is kind of a more escalated version of like what I would do. But I wouldn't say or do some of these things. I'm just saying, like, I understand his sentiment. And I think I didn't know that a lot of people didn't resonate with that. But I also know a lot of people do resonate with that. And so I guess it really just depends on the sibling dynamic, because I remember seeing this reel on, I think it was last week, these two sisters, they were recording themselves. One of them was touching the other sister for the first time. And it was so funny because I remember feeling that way with my sisters, because we don't hug. And so it's already weird, the concept of hugging. I never even hugged my parents. And I think maybe that's kind of the progress that we've made, especially after being with Irvin, was Irvin first made an impact on me getting closer to my parents. And then I think the timing of it just happened to be that I was getting closer to my sisters, or we were just talking a little bit more in conjunction with the timing of getting closer to my parents, because at that time I didn't see my parents for 7 years. And so it was already hard for me to even think about visiting them in North Carolina, because who flies to North Carolina for fun?
I was gonna say that too. I felt like that when I started noticing that you kind of were in communication with your parents a little bit more after, or like around the same time you were with Irvin, like a few years in, I noticed that influence too. I just directly or indirectly, I saw that, and I thought that was really lovely to see you getting close with your family in your own way and developing this like relationship with them that you didn't previously have.
Yeah, I think it's helpful when Irvin is technically a buffer sometimes. Yes.
I'm just here.
He is that, which is sometimes enough. Because then now
Sometimes.
sometimes is enough.
Yeah, and I noticed how you were talking about you and your sisters. It's also very similar to like me and my brothers. I was like kind of hard on them growing up too, and I'm sure them going through high school, them looking at me, they kept saying like, "Hey, you're an asshole. You're an asshole."
They called you an asshole?
I was an asshole. So
What did you do?
Just beat him up, and then like
You beat him? Okay, I did not.
Like a headlock or
like punches and stuff.
damn.
Oh my
But then
god! Wait.
like, well, we got bigger too. We all got bigger. Like my brother they play basketball and football, so they're big too. So all three of us were all in the same height and weight. I think my middle brother's the tallest. He's like 5'10", almost 6 foot, and my youngest brother's like my size. He looks more similar to me, but I wonder if that has to do with us, me and you, just being Vietnamese in America, like parents coming over from war-torn country and them not knowing English as much, then just by our generation being the first English speaking, like fluent English speaking, and I wonder if that creates a divide, because I know like my area is very dense in Vietnamese in Westminster, Garden Grove, and
I don't know what life was like for Vietnamese people in Westminster, because we would just go there for like quote unquote
food, right?
Well, family vacation. But I do know that my family are relatively young, and my mom is turning like 50.
How old was she when she had you?
I think she had me at 19. Yeah. So
Also teenage parents.
Teenage parents, and then my dad's turning like, I think like late 50s, like 57 or something, 58. I don't remember yet. But also my relatives are really young too. And so I think my theory is that there are a handful of Vietnamese people who are younger or on the young side. And so you can imagine them having kids. They're younger than us.
Yeah.
Right? And so imagine having 3 kids in your 20s.
19, 20, 21. Not even like most of us, if you chose a college route, would not even graduated yet.
And especially you're not educated. You didn't finish high school, for example. How are they going to be parenting or maybe not parenting? And so I think there was a lot of chaos that happened in our family because there was just a lot of young mentality at the time, and lack of education, poverty. You have so many layers of it. And so I think that contributes to different parenting styles or lack of parenting styles. For my parents, they were definitely more hands-off because they were uneducated. But the reverse could be true too. I know a lot of Vietnamese parents in your area,
like tiger parents and stuff.
Yeah, they're like more strict. Because I've heard from friends too who grew up in your area.
Yeah,
my mom was a tiger mom.
You turned out well with being a tiger parent prodigy.
A cub.
Tiger cub. There was
Thank you.
I don't know. I remember a couple years ago, like a year or a half ago, I think I met a guy at your party, Erv. He also I don't know if he's Vietnamese or not, but he also went to my high school. He's like maybe 3-4 years older, and he can actually give you like a good perspective on what it is to grow up there as well. But I think he said he was a lawyer now, but he was telling me about this tree at my school. They called it the nip tree, and they've been calling it the nip tree for like at least 30 years. And then kids till this day still call the nip tree, where it's like all the gangsters hang out by that tree. It's usually densely Asian, and it still exists and it's still like it's pretty well known.
I have a question for them too. Since we're on a topic of upbringing and parental influence, I'm very curious about what you would take from both of your parents and your upbringing, how you were both raised, into future parenthood, if and when you decided to have children. Like, what would you take and what would you not take?
Ooh.
So, I mean, Christy or Christy and Irvin?
Christy and Irvin.
You want to answer that first?
Can I think?
Yeah.
That's so they're dynamic.
No, because I think about that question too a lot.
Yeah.
And that's a fair question, especially if you plan on being a parent yourself.
So, Irv, was your parents like born in America, or were they like immigrated here, or are they established in America, or how are they?
They both immigrated here. My mom was fleeing the Vietnam War to come here, and my dad came here from Hong Kong for a better education. Yeah, because he wanted to be an engineer, and at the time in Hong Kong, school for engineering wasn't that great.
So, Christy, how would you? Let's give Irvin some time to think about. Did you need a moment too?
No, I don't.
Take it away.
I never do. I'm always ready. But
That's my girl.
Top of the dome.
top of the
Just like a freestyle rapper, like just.
I'm not a freestyle rapper.
Really good at improv.
Oh my god. So honestly, the one thing I'm always gonna be forever grateful for with my parents, especially after hearing so many other people complain about this, is just that they were not as strict with me in terms of traditions and superstitions, and I mean, honestly, culture too, but there is some pros and cons to the cultural part. But I think the stuff like traditions and superstitions, that was not as heavily enforced as other people have experienced it. And I think the fact that they were able to just trust me on the things that I want to do with my life and my day-to-day, for the most part. I mean, they were still very angry and would yell at me on the phone and in person for doing certain things. But I think that sometimes when they know that I'm sure, they just let me do it. So I think that's probably the biggest takeaway is, obviously I'm not going to be the most lax, because I've learned from them that was also a con, and that really affected me because of how lax they were. I felt so neglected by them too. So there is a caveat to that, but I think their neglect was also the way of giving me something that they didn't have growing up. And I really am mostly talking about my mom, because my grandma is my mom's mom, and my grandma is so overbearing to the point where it's just, you just wouldn't be able to handle a day with her. She's not a sweet old lady you would think. She's very young and still, mentally thriving right now in her 60s. And even though she went through a lot, my grandma is, we all know how overbearing my grandma is. So even just having to, like, the idea of traveling with my grandma would already stress all of us out. I see my mom stressed out from just even talking to her on the phone. And now I see why my mom was really never overbearing like that, and wanted to kind of do the complete opposite of my grandma.
I see that a lot. Like, it's like overcorrection. Like, you don't want to be this so bad, you do the exact opposite.
Yeah.
And then the next generation will be the exact same. Like, I'm sure you do not want to be as lax as your parents was to you, and you probably
don't. You really don't.
I'm also kind of curious on like how you would raise your kid when you do have kids, or if you have kids.
Yeah, I would definitely not be as strict, but I would still, honestly, I would be strict in some areas, because there were times where I wished my parents were strict, ironically. For example, the whole piano thing, where kids had strict parents and they had to learn how to play an instrument. We had a keyboard in the house and we would just never use it. And so I actually went to City College in East LA to learn piano because I wanted to learn piano on my own. But I remember at that time I was thinking, gosh, my mom and dad bought a piano just for looks, but they never forced any of us to learn piano. And so, you're more aware of what you have and what you don't have. And sometimes it's not always greener on the other side. There's definitely some pros and cons and some caveats with that too. So
Going back to what Quang said about how he observed your grandma's overbearingness and then your mother's overcorrection with being completely hands off, and the next generation having to deal with the consequences of it. The first thing that came to mind when he said that was balance, because I feel like you're the balancing scale.
Oh, like a Libra.
Yes, girl. And that was the insight I had. I was like, she's the balance. Thank you for letting me share.
Wow.
Okay. And Irvin, do you have your answer ready?
I need like 5 more minutes.
Oh, okay. Well,
No, I'm kidding. I can answer.
I can keep going if you want me to.
Do you have more to say?
No, I don't. Well,
Okay,
I could have more to say.
Okay.
Go for it.
I think the first thing that comes to mind is something I would want to pass down to my children that my parents gave me is a very memorable childhood.
Oh, wow.
We're all
Right
envious of
in
you.
the
dude.
feels.
I know. I mean, I didn't know until I met Christy and how she like.
I didn't know either.
Until
I met you.
So hers is memorable, just in a different way. More,
Like,
more
she didn't want
trauma
to
is technically
remember.
memory.
And just being with her and hearing stories from her past, and her even mentioning to me how I have so many positive memories and experiences as a child. And, you carry on these experiences you have as a child into adulthood, and it manifests in different ways. And so, yeah, that's definitely something I want to pass down to my children. And also a little bit of my mom's tiger mom side.
Yeah.
Like I would want to tiger dad my kids too, to a certain extent, because something it's a double-edged sword. My mom would make me do like extra homework, right? Extra homework. Like I come home from school, I get homework, I finish that, and my mom's like, here's more homework. Here's more math problems. Like she put me in Kumon, dude.
That's crazy.
The literature and math side.
Kumon's been around that long?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
But yeah, all that work, it really put me at the top of my class. And so each year I'm like at the top of my class and I'm like confident in myself. I'm like, dude, I'm smart. I'm like,
I love the confidence.
How does it feel to be
first grade
confident?
to
Wow.
8th grade. And then
And when
high
did-
school hit me. My mom started loosening the reins.
Okay.
My grades started dropping a little bit.
Oh no.
Little bit, and then I got to college. I figure out I'm just as dumb as everybody else. And
You went
but
to a
then,
pretty tough high school, though, so
Huh?
take it easy on yourself. Like, don't go hard on yourself. Your school was pretty rough.
But what I learned there was I don't think I was really that smart. I was just hard work was instilled in me. I just worked harder than everyone else, and so that's what I want to pass down to my kids, like the lesson of working hard.
Well, I think you were both though, because
All right, I'm smart. All right, both. I agree.
That's funny.
it's
But the hard work with the intelligence is pretty good, because if you're just intelligent and not hardworking, you're just like a lazy smart ass.
that's a very real thing too. Yeah.
Like I think I messaged Erv like early in the month that someone from his school is going to space this month.
Yeah,
Oh really?
The very first Vietnamese person is going to space through NASA.
I remember her too.
Wait.
Yeah, he went to high school with
Who?
her.
Oh, Amanda?
Nguyen.
Yeah.
Oh.
So
Yeah,
so
I
so
know.
so I wouldn't be too mad if I was not as smart as her, because she like what, Harvard student going to
She's real
NASA's.
smart.
Yeah, and I'm just an average Joe.
We are average Joes.
We are average Joes. You're, you're a step above me.
Honestly, I really like that question, Bopa, and I want to hear from you too. Like, what would you pass on?
Oh.
No, I mean, I like what you said, Erv. I like what you said about making memories, because it seems like I still see you like still travel with your family till now, till this day, still making memories.
Yeah.
And I think I can never ever travel with my parents ever again. They're like the worst.
Really?
Yeah. I don't know if I told this story, but I was more annoyed. Other people were more worried. But when I went with my dad on vacation, like came back from somewhere and he decided to climb a tree to pick some fruit or something. No. And then he slips off, and I was like, all right, I'm going to He slips off the ladder and then like gets a concussion. And then he forgot like what happened. He's like, oh, why is it? Everyone's like, oh, why are you sunbathing out here? Oh. But he makes it seem like, oh, I almost died. I was like, hey, relax, buddy. Relax, buddy. You got a concussion. Go lay down. You'll be all right. Like how I am with my brothers, how you are with your sisters. Like, toughen up, suck it up.
Yeah,
like,
suck it up.
This ain't death. But when my parents get hurt, like my mom hurt her shoulder or something, she make it seem like
it's the end of the world.
It's the end of the world.
That's my mom, literally.
Yeah, but they're
she over worries.
They're there to. I think they like garnering sympathy from others. Like, yo, keep it to yourself.
No, they just.
When I get injured, I'm like, I'm not telling no one I'm injured. No one.
That's well, my mom, she just over worries and she'll put that on us, and sometimes it makes me worry, and then my sister has to be like, Christy, mom's just overreacting. She's just having anxiety right now. I'm like, oh, okay. It's one of those. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And with Erv's question to us, even though you say like,
I have a good answer.
I do. Forget the fact that.
So I personally, I don't see myself having kids. I don't feel called in this lifetime to want children. And I think part of that is because I think my soul is like, this is the last time we're coming to Earth. We're about to, after I'm done here, we're raising to the next consciousness level.
Ooh.
But if I were to have children, because I won't completely write it off, I would definitely share all the tools that I've learned about inner work and like communicating feelings. I think that's the number one thing I would teach my children is really like feel your feelings and how to process it. And then I would also put them in martial arts so that they can defend themselves.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I think something like, it seems like you love your sisters, you love your parents. I think that's a positive thing.
Of course.
Which not many people have.
Yes. Everyone says this about me and Lena. There's no one like us. Our relationship is amazing.
Period.
I love my sister so much. She is one of my favorite people, if not the most favorite, next to Christy and Justine.
You got a lot of people in your life.
I do. I feel like I'm very wealthy. Because I consider one of my like flex is that, year over year, you see the same people in my photos.
Oh, like, that's good.
It's always going to be Christy. Wow. It's always going to be Dason. It's always going to be my sister, that's really Justine.
Good.
We'll make it in there one day.
You guys are in there. You were in there last year.
Yeah, I saw you were in there.
let's actually switch it up and kind of ask you guys some questions about. Yeah, of course.
Since you're not having kids to teach those things and put them in martial arts, can you teach our kids that?
I would be honored.
And put them in martial arts. Thank you.
Wow. Yeah. She's a certified auntie.
I'm so honored right now. Yeah, absolutely. Like, if I have consent from you guys, I would love to share everything. I know, and be a safe space for your children.
Yeah, I know you said you wouldn't want kids, but you will be
a great auntie.
You will be a great auntie.
A fun auntie.
Yeah. That's what I'm looking forward to is, if my sister has kids, if and when you guys do, I'm really, really looking forward to that. Even more than like my cousins having kids. Forget about them. I can't wait till you guys.
Oh my God.
But I would love to ask you guys about marriage. I'm very curious because you've been together, like we mentioned earlier in this episode, like 10 years and married for about a little under 2 years. I want to know What conception did you have about marriage that is now a misconception?
Whoa. That is now a misconception?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I know one.
I know one.
Oh.
My lady.
I really want to hear his answer first.
Oh, okay. Saya.
Oh, me first? Okay.
I thought you had one.
I do, but I'm hesitant to say
Okay.
it.
I'll give you 5 minutes to think about it.
Thank you.
Okay, I'll go.
Dang, it's about to get messy.
Dang. It doesn't just take love. Or love is not enough, which is, yeah. I mean, I know other people have said that before. So I guess
It hits different when you
I think now you know that I guess I understand it a lot more because it's possible to really put love on this. I don't know how to describe it, like putting love on the sidelines to work together in a different way. But that's like the more general thing. And I think another big thing for myself personally is how to unlearn my habits of being hyper independent to being dependent, I guess, because, and I'm still in the process of learning that, to be honest. And that can involve showing up when not to show up, or communicate and when not to communicate. And so there's a lot of internal battles that I personally go through to unlearn those bad habits. And sometimes you just forget that, hey, there's somebody right there. Not that you're not there, but sometimes I have to remind myself that.
Thanks for being vulnerable, girly.
Oh,
That's a good answer.
It's okay to get in trouble, and we can talk through it if
Oh,
we're gonna fight.
I like what you said. Can you repeat it because the microphone?
it's okay to like. It's one of those. It's almost like we listen but don't judge, but we kind of judge a little bit. So feel free to. You may not put it perfectly, but say what it is, and then maybe we can sharpen, or I don't know how to shape it up a little bit.
Can I bow out of this question?
Of course.
Okay.
I respect.
Because there are some things I'm still wrestling with, and I've only spoken about it to Christy, and I'm not ready to share it.
It's all good. We can keep it private.
Yeah.
Okay.
And and the split between private life and public life, I'm kind of glad you're keeping it private.
Me too. Okay. Let's lighten up the mood. And what is the most fun part about being married?
Oh, what is the fun part?
Can I bow out of this? I'm just kidding.
Damn.
You got jokes, huh? We're gonna talk tonight.
Fun
Daily
part.
jokes. Sleeping on the sofa sometimes.
Honestly, I don't know if we have anything too drastically different. I know most couples say, "Oh, it's not too different from being together," but I think it's probably because they haven't gone through like the major decisions in their life together yet. That's my theory, and it's not to say that they're wrong, because I do agree with that too. And I think that's why I feel like we're both still very young in terms of our marriage. I think the fun thing is that I get to call him my husband.
Aw. That's beautiful.
That is pretty fun, actually. Call you my wife.
Oh,
You motherfuckers.
It's like you've reached the
the
epitome.
yeah of that pet name.
Yeah. If pet name was like a game or something, you've reached the final boss. And
Oh,
Oh damn.
So we've
good.
talked about you guys as a couple, and since this episode is about Christy and we've interjected Erv, who's a great sport, thank you. Let's talk about you guys as individuals.
Yeah, Erv is a huge part of Christy.
Yes. But
Aw.
Christy was Christy before Erv. Christy is still Christy even while she's with Erv, and even after Erv. So we love improv here, okay? And we're
Oh no, this is why she got us on the show.
we love
She wants us-
improv here.
tricked.
So let's
my
get to
God.
know more about Christy since this episode is about her and Irvin. So Christy, don't think too hard about this. 5 words to describe Irvin.
Oh, loyal, patient, genuine,
You can't think too hard.
confident, family oriented with a dash. That's one word, right?
That's one word. Okay, Irvin. You can't think about it. That's part of improv. You gotta go.
Enthusiastic. Multifaceted.
Ooh.
Aesthetically driven.
He's giving you good words. He's throwing out compound words.
Wait, you
A lot of
got
hyphen,
two.
a lot of
I
hyphen.
I know.
Yeah, they're hyphenated.
Yeah,
One
no,
word,
they
one
count,
word.
but that's awesome.
Beautiful.
Period.
Aww.
Oh.
Is that 4?
Yeah.
Or
All right, one more. Distinctive, but lovely and attractive laugh.
We'll give it to him. Oh, I love it. That's so cute. Here, you got a question for them.
Okay, he cheated.
But we
I had like 10 words.
I'll
We
take
like
it.
that.
I'll take it.
Okay, let's actually do a fun exercise with you guys, okay? So this is one word at a time. For example, Quang and I will demonstrate. Let's tell a quick story. I,
am
a,
big
back,
with
a little, a,
little.
penis. That's a story. Okay, so you guys get the gist of it. So it's one word at a time. And the prompt that I want to give you two is give us one piece of relationship advice.
Okay. Who goes first?
Oh, you start with a word. Start with one word.
Yeah.
You
Must
be
really
ready.
to
Give
good.
Head. Just kidding. Okay, no, go, Chrissy. Good.
You do complete their sentences.
Say period. Period.
I'm not gonna say period. I'm not gonna say period.
You have to give really good.
And
Oh my god.
Long.
genuine.
The sentence anymore.
Talks.
What?
Talks.
Talks. Okay.
Talk.
It's a pretty good piece of advice. How would you interpret that cue?
That be introspective, not speak just to speak, but think about what you speak. Because a lot of the questions we ask, Erv does put thought into it.
Mm-hmm.
He's not like what are those called, like fast speakers. That I don't know.
Impulsive.
Yeah, because I think I'm like that. I'll just say it just to get off my chest, off my brain, so I don't have to worry about it. And sometimes it's not very considerate of people's feelings, or for the sake of a joke, it might
No, you're very
Oh,
considerate.
yeah. I'm trying to be more so
You're
now.
extremely considerate of people's feelings and very mindful.
Because if I see a short person, I'm like, and next time I see him, I'm like, hey, did you grow? Not like, yes, I'll get a lot of laughs, but not.
I've never seen you do that.
Yeah, I've done it before, like within the year. And I'm going to a baby's first birthday this month, and I'm see that person again. Now I look back, I don't know them well enough to joke like that, but you're right. You guys do. I don't know what goes on behind closed doors, but it does seem like you guys do discuss a lot of things because you guys are so different amongst each other. And I'm sure, Christy, you give him a topic and he thinks about it and he makes you think as well.
Christy's face.
I'm thinking. Yeah, he makes me think. I make him think. I think it's
She makes me, how do I say this? She makes me more vulnerable.
She's gushing. She's loving this right now.
Yeah.
So,
eating it up.
We set this up.
We sure did. Let's wrap this up with a really nice question. By the end of this year, where do you two see yourself individually and together? Like, what does life look like to you on an individual? Like, what do you want to manifest or call in more by the end of the year? And then also together.
On an individual, I'll go first. I definitely want to feel more like myself, ironically. And because I feel like I've been living life on autopilot on so many occasions where I can't recall a lot of things. And a lot of the decisions that have happened in my life were not my own decisions. And so I'm still in the process of really trying to find ways where I feel like I have more control in my decisions in my life, whether that's play or whether that's a career or whether that's in a relationship, and not feeling like I'm just going with the flow in life. And I that's always been my mentality since I was young, and I think that's what I thought kept me safe. But I never really practiced deciding things for myself. And sometimes I don't have to wait for other people to tell me what to do or invite me somewhere. I don't know. These are just examples, but I hope by the end of the year I feel more closer to myself. That's me on an individual level. On a relationship level, I would hope that I feel more closer to Urban in general, because I think right now we're both dealing with doing our own things and dealing with life in our own way, but there isn't a lot of opportunities for us to just come together, just two of us, especially when the kids are here.
Not their kids, by the way.
Yeah. Your brother's kids are here. And they're here every week, multiple times a week. And they take up a lot of our time too. And we see other people, other friends, we see family. Yeah, I would hope that we can do more travel together and more adventures together, local or domestic or international.
For me, individually, at the end of the year, I want to have a stable job, a stable income. I think that's pretty much it. That's the goal I have for myself. Just get the foundations right before I do anything else. And once that is set, then I feel like I can start focusing more on our relationship. And the first thing we should do is move out and get our own place.
Yeah.
just so we can have our own alone time.
Yeah, like more together time.
For
with just
really good and long and genuine talks.
No, they sell soundproof padding on Amazon, right? You can just pat the wall.
that's like
Yeah, because we've never lived together alone
Yeah.
before, and I feel like if we were to have kids, then we definitely won't live alone ever. So I would want a period in our relationship where it's just us
it's
two.
just us two, yeah.
And so I think that is the next priority in our relationship.
And there we have it, guys. Thank you so much, Christy and Ervin, for joining us on the No Context podcast. Thank you, Q, for setting everything up and also creating a really fun outline for us to guide this conversation.
Yes, thank you for having us.
Yeah, thank you,
Yeah,
Boba, for coming
thank
with
you.
those the little comment sections and like driving the car today because yeah.
You guys have any, before we like completely wrap up, do you have any last questions or thoughts or things that you want to put on the table?
I just want to say this was great, and I hope we get to do more of this.
We will. I think we found some recurring guests to come on the episode.
Yay!
Yay! Okay, everyone. Thank you so much for watching. We hope you really enjoyed this episode, and we'll catch you on the next one.
Thank you.
Bye.